Good evening. No, not good evening. Good morning. This is John G. Presco, candidate for the governor of Oregon, coming to you live from Springfield, Oregon at 7 a.m. This is not the Midnight Worry show because I was afraid to get out of bed last night. I was attacked by demons. One demon, maybe two or three. I lay there most of the morning waiting for to see the first crack of dawn because I didn't want to get up out of bed. I was attacked by demons. Yes, I was. I'm afraid to describe it to you. Afraid you're going to lock me up. I got threatened to be locked up by my neighbors a couple of years ago, about five of them. Got the video of that. It's going to go into uh, my archives, the governor of Oregon. This is a conflagular show. I'm laughing about my proposed story, my uh, white privilege exploitation movie I had in mind called Conflagula about Robert E. Lee becoming a vampire and six teenagers from a white. Oh my goodness. From a white privilege, pretty white supremacist family, parents. They want to go to Hartwell House in England, where the Lee family sprang from, and look for the lost, uh, uh, the lost diary of Robert E. Lee. And they come upon, the first night, one of the spicy young teenagers is set upon by the, Conflagula. Robert E. Lee as Dracula, and he's got her boyfriend cornered, and he said, "Wait a minute, Mr. Lee, I'm one of you. I'm white. Can't turn on your own kind, you know." And Conflagula Robert says, "I am interested in the color of your skin. I'm interested in the color of your blood." Mom, no! Ah! So, so I blogged on me as governor. I'll be up there, not really dealing with reality, but writing these cranking out these dime novels up there in the governor's mansion. There'd be a picture of a lone window lit up there at midnight, and I'd be in there. You're typing out my next dime novel. And one of them was the 6 cent range war. I go, man, what a title! I love that. I said, that's from the 30s, the 6 cent range war. I'm stalling, aren't I? I want to talk about the demon that attacked me last night. It was horrible. He had one with red eye. He was coming at me, and I'm just throwing these punches. I'm trying to, but I'm sleeping. I go, dang, I know I hit him with a right cross and an uppercut. I know I did. But he's coming at me. He's coming at me. Come on. I got to knock this sucker down. This is a demon, you know. Finally, I wake up and I got my fist like this, and and all of a sudden I'm slamming it into the mattress. I said, I gotta get this out of me. Bam, in the middle of the night. Bam, bam. See, I was afraid to talk about this a couple of 3 hours ago, when it was dark. See, I don't know what you people, maybe you people see these demons around me, we ought to call up cahoots, Go, who's over there? John, our mayor, governor, candidate for governor is flipping out, you know? You see him fighting with demons over there, you know? And then there was another person came in, boy, and it was like a light, like somebody shined a brilliant flashlight in the dark. And it was just, I said, that's from the Ukraine. Someone in Ukraine is flashing me a light, trying to, signal, you know. And then the no-neck woman downstairs, she was up here, She said, I'm sorry, I believe you. You're a prophet, you know. I know what you're going through now. You're fighting demons. I said, I am. Yeah, that I am. Thanks. Neighbor, you finally understood that. So it's getting rough out there, see, because it's all coming true. See, when you're a prophet, you see things in the future from way back there. It's easier to call it when it's happening. You know, it's real hard when you saying this is going to happen and this is going to be crazy as all hell, and people go, "You're nuts! That ain't going to happen." Oh yeah, it is. Well, why you just shut up about it? You take your meds. Just shut up. Leave us alone. I'm gonna leave you alone. I'm trying to warn you what's coming. So apparently, to one genealogy, came out that I'm related to Robert E. Lee, to the Wilson family, to John Wilson, the first a Puritan leader of the Massachusetts Bay Colony. So I haven't used that as a recommendation of why I fit to be the governor of Oregon. Yeah, you'll find me in Hawthorne's. Come on, Scarlet Letter. That's my ninth grandfather, John Wilson, in the Scarlet Letter, and you heard of Robert E. Lee, haven't you? See, do I look like him? See, look at that. That's the Robert E. Lee profile. It's freaky. It's getting freaky. So then I get up and I go, well, we'll get to Putin, but Jesus, and I try to see if Putin is invaded, and I come upon this. There's going to be a 4-part series called Lincoln's Dilemma. Oh, yeah, I know that. I've been reporting on it. It has everything to do with John Fremont and the Radical Republicans. I know it does. I don't have to read what this program is going to be about. But sure enough, it says, yeah, Lincoln got a lot of pressure, from his fellow Republicans. And then it says this. Let's see. Okay. In a few shaky instances, the dossiers, the accusers flirts with the notion that it's providing a fresh, less righteous take on Lincoln by showing him to be a man who is more pragmatic than saintly. Yet by and large, it comprehends Lincoln's struggles, compromises, and triumphs in the context in which they took place. So that, for example, Lincoln's consideration of a proposal to export freed slaves to their ancestral homelands in Africa and the Caribbean is cast as a then relevant response in the assumption that many whites would never, never fully accept their black compatriots as equals. I knew that. I knew he wanted to send them back to Africa. It wasn't him, it was Blair who opposed John Fremont. And John Fremont formed another party. He was the first presidential candidate for the Republican Party. He was co-founded. He's surrounded by radical Republicans, a lot of them from Europe, and the 48ers. And so he didn't win the presidency, the White House, but next election, they were putting a lot of pressure on Lincoln, a lot, to emancipate the slaves. And that's the last thing he wanted to do. And then they're going to have a four-part series on this. See, right now, why didn't they have one 5 years ago when I'm telling everybody about this? So I joined Republican Party 8 years or more ago. 2009, became a Republican. I knew all this history. So yeah, and so Lincoln said, Fremont's really jacked me up here. If he forms this other party, I'm not going to win the presidency. And so I better emancipate the slaves like he's asked me to do. Put that in there, but he won't give him credit, see. And he turned on Fremont. That's the big story. See, that's what I'm running my governancy on, because this whole story now they're gonna have a series. So Anna Coolbrith, what a woman. That's the movie I'd like to see. Ina. And I was going to write about it, but I'll just talk about it now. Ina opens up with the scene of her and her servant carrying their cats out of her apartment in San Francisco because they had an earthquake and now the city's on fire. And they were told to evacuate, but don't worry, we'll stop the fire, but just to be sure, you just might want to leave with your animals, and don't bother packing anything, because we're going to stop the fire over there on Divisadero, they're going to, or whatever. You got coming here. Okay, here's here, put my little kitty. There's their cat case, Oh, I could better get my other kitty. And she takes off and she goes to Oakland on the ferry. The next thing you know, she's back on the ferry with Joaquin Miller. There's a whole city. You can just see this huge conflagration. The fire has just really gotten out of hand. And they can see it's heading for her apartment. They're on the ferry, and I could just see. I was right there. It's like I was right there. I could see Joaquin Miller looking concerned on the bow of the ferry as they head to San Francisco. Because they got to save all the writing. They got some valuable books, first edition books here, in manuscripts with some famous authors there that she's got her manuscript of. She was writing the history of the Bay Area, the Bay Area's writers. And I go, holy, I can feel it. I'm getting chills now. Oh, goddamn, save that history book. My gosh, that's what I'm about. That's why I'm here on Earth. That's what Royal Rosemont Press is about. Come on, Mr. Miller, step on it, get him, get in there and grab the book. See, he was a big man. That's why she probably went and got him. See, he could just put all these books under his arm, the manuscripts, and head back to the ferry and head back to Oakland. But they're stopped. They're stopped by the Union Army, the military. But they put up guards to keep the looters out. Mr. Miller says, I got to get in there and get them books. You don't understand, because they're valuable, the whole history of the writers, the really writers of, you know, of the Bay Area here, California. I got to get in there and get them. Oh, no, you ain't going to get past us. We'll shoot you dead if you try. You know, shoot me dead. You can't shoot me. You don't know who I am. Oh, I don't care who you are. But we've already shot some looters. There's a couple of other dead people we hung up there in a tree that said, they're riders. They're going to get in there and get their manuscript. We shot them dead, see? So you're probably one of them. So get the hell out of here. Go back to Oakland. That's the beginning of the movie. Ina. And the next thing you see is her on a horse with Jim Brackenshaw or somebody, and he's a half black man, and he's a famous mountain trailblazer kind of guy. Black man, man of the West. See, he's got he's leading the wagon train coming into the city, coming into the Bay Area, and with a 15-year-old Anna Kubrith on the saddle with him. Now, she was a good-looking woman, I tell you that. Golden hair, pretty features. And there's this strong, big black man who, shot buffalo, did all that, led wagon trains from Missouri, So, we got the black people covered in this movie. We don't need to. This whole thing with Amazon and the new token movies coming out on Amazon. We got to have a black quota. Well, here he is. Here she is on the saddle. And who is she? Well, she's the mother married Joseph Smith. And her real name is Josephina. She's named after Joseph Smith. They call her Josephina. And they take the three last words and get Ina out of that. And they call her Ina. And Kubrith, they didn't want to call her Smith because the mother was afraid she was going to get assassinated, as all the Mormons were. When they were coming in a wagon train, they were set upon by Christians who ambushed them and slaughtered them, killed every one of them. Because they didn't want them anti-Christian Mormons coming out there into the West, so they killed them. I remember the movie Brigham Young about the locusts and everything, and they bushwhacked and killed all of them Mormons, So jump from that to being on this ferry with Joaquin Miller trying to save all this literature. She was head of the Oakland Library and the first poet laureate of California. And the members of the Bohemian Club adopted her. She was only the second woman to be adopted. It's honoring member of the Bohemian Club that meets there in Bohemian Grove, near where I used to live in Camp Meeker. Let me do that Robert E. Lee look. Conflagula. Christopher Lee is related to Robert E. Lee and me. You can just see, my cousin looks like Christopher Lee more than I do. He's got a longer face, Genetics is interesting. So it's almost 20 minutes into this, folks. I better make, I'm telling you, Herbert Armstrong had these predictions about the United States going to war with the Roman Empire in the form of the European Union. Holy Roman Empire in the form of the newly formed European Union. See, and I claimed that, I rose the Holy Roman Empire from the dead about 10 days ago, if you remember. That'll get me locked up for sure, you know. Call cahoots on Mr. Presco, yeah. The whole world's going crazy. Now we're on the verge of a Holocaust because Putin, I think, believes that that he's the savior of Christianity, European Christianity. I mean, where else was it? It was in the Holy Land for a while, but it was born, basically in Europe. Paul was supposed to come up to Rome. How Christianity overcame Rome. I'm looking at other story here altogether, how that happened. So there's supposed to be this beast with the 10 crowns in Europe. See? That's supposed to represent the Holy Roman Empire. The 10 crowns of the beast. It's all about Revelations. I guess I'm about ready to get into Revelations here. See? The fighting, the fist fight with the angel or whatever, a demon angel coming up from the ground. You stay down there. Whoop on your butt. But good. You gotta vote for the governor. I'll be telling a story, Me and what's his name, who did the Civil War. Can't remember him. I love him. He's influenced the way I talk, see, in my shows. What's his name? Burns, I love that guy. See, him and I ought to do a show, But they got the dilemma of Lincoln now. Everybody's going to go, wait a minute. Mr. Presco been saying all this on Roy Rosamond Press blog for years. He's been saying this. Now they got a TV show. Well, and they didn't give Mr. Presco a TV show. They didn't give him. Well, they're going to give him a cut, aren't they? They're going to give him some money, a couple of $1,000 at least, so he can buy some writing equipment. He needs a new computer. His keys are all getting dull. He hammers on that keys. They're not going to give him any money for the Lincoln Dilemma. No, it's 2. Boy, I tell you, I think I'm going to make this thing about me coming back up to Oakland just to blow your mind, because I really think I am the bottom of Jack London. I'm really accepting that now. I found out that Anna lived on Webster Street, around 12th Street, and when I did that 13th Street with the loading zone, we lived right around there. And the Golden West Bar is right down the street too, and that's where my first novel, The Getting Computer, begins. But what's really strange, I looked at, went down the bottom of Webster Street, Jacqueline Square, and I looked for to see if perchance my father's Acme Produce. He was located in an old Victorian warehouse right there by the railroad tracks on Webster Street, to see if it was still standing. But I already went there, and it wasn't. But they built this new building right there where it used to be. Then I noticed on the map they said link Jack London's cabin. And I go click on there, and they got a replica of Jack London's cabin that he lived in up in the Klondike. Well, it wasn't the real thing. They just had somebody make a replica of it using the old methods of making a cabin. They put it right down, right next to where Acme Produce was. See, and Anna Coolbrith sponsored Jack London, encouraged him to become a writer, and she pretty much made the identity for Joaquin Miller and setting him off packing to Europe, where he hung around with some royalty and the Peracolites. See, Anna Coolbrith, amazing woman. So, okay, well, I'm going to cut this short now. Putin says that his Russian army captured 2 saboteurs from Ukraine. They were going to go in there and blow up some stuff in Russia. And this is why we got to go to war, send in 100,000 men with tanks. See, but I think he sees himself as a Christian soldier. And I'm telling you, I think, him and Jeff Sessions, handpicked Donald Trump to kind of be a part of this Russian crusade, Christian crusader. He sees himself as, uniter of all Europe. He's going to restore Europe to Christianity. An KGB man from Russia is going to do this? Really? And we got, what, millions of evangelicals in America that know about this plan? Well, apparently they do. And I think Putin is waiting, stirring them up. See, because I talked to some couple of neo-Confederates, and one of them, Rosia, he's, get ready, because it's coming. Are you going to be ready? And he's all into guns and shit. So, so I'm looking at Putin, instigating, some more insurrection here in the United States. See, that's the demons I've been fighting. You, and you, and you, and even the other descendants of Robert E. Lee. But I think I'm the only one. And Rosie knows that he looks. He says, man, you look just like him. You are a descendant of Robert E. Lee. Well, how come you ain't on our side? I says, well, I hate you people. I'm on, my kin's side, John Fremont. And I told them a couple of years ago that I'm going to run for the governor of Oregon, and I didn't. But this time I am. So I'll be doing all the fighting the demons, and I'll be doing all the warring, for you, because a lot of you people don't know enough to worry as much as I worry. If you knew what I knew, you'd be damn hell worried. But I'm on the job now. All right. Don't worry. Be happy. Have yourself a blessed day.